David Walliams is fighting the people who fired him from his £1.50 million-a-year job as a judge on Britain's Got Talent. The comic is suing production company Fremantle for a lot of money because they fired him from the ITV show in November of last year. People who saw David Walliams on Britain's Got Talent often said that he was the best judge the show had ever had. His energy was unmatched, and the way he judged made the applicants feel at ease. But when David quit the show out of the blue, everyone was shocked. David Walliams is said to be fighting the people in charge of Britain's Got Talent because they fired him from the ITV show. It is said that the former Little Britain star is seeking a lot of money in damages after quitting in November, especially after the incident that caused a lot of trouble. Was that the real reason he left, or was there more? Finally, the truth has been found. But what's the whole story? Also, why do so many people want to know what really happened? We're going to find out what really happened to David Walliams from Britain's Got Talent. Where did David Walliams go? Britain's Got Talent after a big scandal that shocked everyone on the show and in the crowd. The comic who had made everyone laugh on the show all of a sudden became the center of the biggest scandal in the history of Britain's Got Talent. Everyone was confused about what went wrong because this was the worst thing that ever happened to him in his career. Not only did the scandal hurt David's character, it also hurt the shows. It was always known that Britain's Got Talent was family-friendly entertainment, but the scandal made people look down on the show. Fans and people who worked on the show were let down, but not many people know how it all started. Don't move. We know the whole story. In November 2022, the scandal that brought down David Walliams started. A shocking tape that got out showed him saying rude things about Britain's Got Talent contestants. This issue quickly took over the news and social media conversations. Because of this, David's long time with the show was changed. David said hurtful things on a recording in January 2020, which was first made public by The Guardian. During the exchange, David used rude words to talk about an older male contestant. A lot of people were shocked by this. However, what's even stranger is that David said those things in January 2020. But people didn't find out about the incident until November 2022. The anger when the news finally came out was made worse by the delay in its release. The incident had a lot of bad effects. David got bad reviews, and his job on Britain's Got Talent stopped being a good fit. A lot of fans were confused about how someone they had looked up to for a long time could say such hurtful things. The story also made people wonder about the attitude of the people who work at Britain's Got Talent. A lot of fans were confused about how this behavior could have gone on for so long without being caught. But the fact that he was later called out showed that bad behavior has effects, and that being responsible is important in every part of life. On top of that, the recording showed another shocking comment. It showed that David had said rude things about another contestant, this time a female competitor. As expected, the news quickly spread, with big publications like the Daily Mail, The Sun, and The Independent writing in-depth articles about it. On social media, there were heated arguments and many fans were very upset. Others, though, supported David, saying that these were just private jokes that shouldn't have led to such harsh punishments. He was only making fun of them and didn't mean to hurt their feelings, they said. ITV, the network that runs Britain's Got Talent, made a formal statement because of growing public pressure. They said that the show would not stand for any actions that could hurt or anger competitors. Though they didn't say David's name, it was clear that what they said was meant for him. David had no choice but to answer as the reaction grew. David surprised everyone by putting out a statement saying he felt terrible about what he said. Even though he knew they were wrong, he promised that he never meant to hurt anyone. He made it clear, though, that the talk was private and was never meant to be made public. Even though he said sorry, the damage to his reputation was already done. Many people said that David should take more responsibility for what he said because he was a public person. Some people accepted his apology and asked for forgiveness. David shocked everyone when he quit Britain's Got Talent just a few weeks after the story broke. But what really took place behind the scenes? ITV never said officially that David had been fired, but people who work in the media said that he had been pushed out. Sources inside the show said that ITV had held several emergency meetings to talk about what was going on and decided that David could no longer stay on the show. The person had been a well-liked judge on the show for a long time, so this was a big surprise. In terms of sales, it was by far his best book. David Walliams is good at writing everything from TV comedies to books for kids. It's even more amazing that the other judges like Simon Cowell, Amanda Holden, and Alicia Dixon didn't say anything about it in public. That being said, some say the judges were shocked when they found out what David had said on the tape. David and Simon Cowell were very close, and Cowell even talked to David alone before the final choice was made. Bruno Tonioli, who used to be a judge on Strictly Come Dancing, took David's place on the group of judges. Fans had a lot of different reactions to this choice right away. Even though Bruno had been a judge before, many people thought he couldn't make the show as funny as David had. A few fans said they felt like the show had lost some of its soul when David left. People loved having him on the show as a judge, and his funny conversations with the contestants made the show what it was. That was not the end of the story, though. David did something later that no one thought he would. He went to court against Fremantle Media, the company that makes Britain's Got Talent, over a breach of data protection. After he left the show in November 2022, this case was filed, which came after private copies of the rude things he said about contestants in 2020 got out. His private talks were leaked, which he said was against his rights, and he officially sued Fremantle in September 2023. Reports say Williams got a seven-figure sum when the case was settled out of court in November 2023. But what about David Williams when he's not on Britain's Got Talent? What has he been doing for fun and for work? Let's find out. The rest of David Williams' life after Britain's Got Talent. David Williams' life has been very private since he left Britain's Got Talent. He decided to keep quiet, staying away from the media and not responding to rumors. He didn't say anything else about what happened. David almost faded from TV screens after he left Britain's Got Talent. It stopped being fun to watch on TV, and the conversations with Simon Cowell stopped being lively. He took a more private and quieter path in life, but that didn't mean he stopped working altogether. After the 2022 scandal, it looked like big TV networks didn't want to work with David. It got harder and harder for David Williams to get on reality and talk shows. Hey there, David, you're here. It's great to have you as our first host. I decided to make myself at home since I'll be here all week. Besides that, he quit regularly appearing at press events or on popular TV shows. It was clear that the scandal hurt his image in the entertainment business. David didn't wait for a return to TV. Instead, he worked on things he could control, like writing books and making animated movies. He was still one of the best-selling children's writers in the UK, even after all the trouble. Many people bought and loved books like Gangster Granny, Mr. Stink, and The Boy in the Dress. Because David didn't have to watch TV as much, he focused on personal projects. Besides continuing to write, he also grew his publishing business and started making cartoon movies based on his stories. His book Robodog was turned into an animated movie in 2023, which was a big step forward in his work. Voice acting in the movie came from well-known players, which was seen as a smart move. David decided not to try to get back to his old job on TV, but instead to invest in a field where he had full creative power. He had worked hard for years before making this choice, which started a new part of his job. His stories have been adapted into many languages and read by many generations. More than 1,000 of his books have been sold around the world. People were interested in David's personal life even when he wasn't working. Many people were curious about his love life after he split up with beauty Laura Stone in 2015. Since they broke up, David hasn't gotten married again or made any new relationships public. His wedding to Laura was one of the most talked about in the show's business. It was 2009 when they met. They fell in love right away and got married the next year. Their wedding was a big deal because they were both famous in their fields. Laura is a famous supermodel and David is a popular comedian and TV star. Their marriage looked great, but it ended suddenly in 2015. The exact reason they got a divorce was never made public, but sources said they had very different plans for their future together. David wanted a safe family life, but Laura wanted to be more independent and live a full life. Over time, their different points of view made them grow apart, and in the end they broke up. David decided to put all of his attention on his job and his son Alfred after the split. Alfred became his most important thing. He rarely posted personal things on social media, but the few times he did, they were usually about Alfred and their daily lives. Fans often saw pictures of David going on adventures with his son outside or taking the two of them on holidays. He always found time for Alfred even when he was very busy at work. David had grown up and found happiness in life after becoming a single dad. Aside from personal and business setbacks, a strange rumor spread about David in 2023. There were rumors that David had signed up for the Raya dating app, which is known for putting famous people in touch with each other. There were rumors that his profile picture showed him with his two beloved dogs, Bert and Ernie, but David never confirmed or refuted these rumors. Even though David wasn't on reality TV anymore, he still made public visits from time to time. He kept taking part in charity events, especially ones that helped kids. In the same year he went to the opening of Robodog and talked about how excited he was to see his work turned into a movie. He didn't want to talk about the past when asked about Britain's Got Talent. Instead he focused on his new projects. People who were looking forward to a big comeback on TV may have been let down. David seemed happy with his life now that he wasn't in the news or on reality TV. Many stars have made great comebacks after scandals in the entertainment business, but it took time and the right plan to do so. So far David hadn't shown any signs that he was moving to come back. He wasn't working on any reality TV projects, which made a lot of people think that he had decided to end that part of his career. But things might be different with David around. People might think differently about him if he came back in an interesting project. But he didn't seem in a hurry right now. He had built a strong career that wasn't based on TV, which is something that not many artists can do after a big scandal. Williams is said to have said, "She's like that slightly boring girl you meet in the pub after a female contestant left the stage, that thinks you want to F them but you don't." Beautiful. Now he has apologized, and I personally don't think he should be sacked from the show. His books continued to sell, and film adaptations of his works were still in production. David's journey has been one of hard work, starting from humble beginnings long before he joined Britain's Got Talent. He didn't start as a famous figure, and his rise to success wasn't easy. Early in his career, David worked tirelessly to build his reputation, starting in stand-up comedy where his unique style began to catch attention. As time passed, he gained more recognition, landing roles on TV that helped him grow into a well-known face. His big break came when he joined Britain's Got Talent, where he became a beloved judge. Let's take a short walk back and look at how David began his career. David Williams Carter Journey. Born in 1971 in London as David Edward Williams, he grew up in an ordinary middle-class family. His father was an engineer, and his mother worked as a laboratory technician. From a young age, David showed a love for performing. However, turning his talent into a career was not easy. While studying at the University of Bristol, David made a life-changing decision. It was a bold move, one that came with uncertainty, but fate had a plan. He joined Footlights, Cambridge University's famous comedy troupe, known for producing legends like John Cleese and Stephen Fry. This was where he developed his script writing and acting skills, unknowingly laying the foundation for a future that would take him far beyond what he imagined. During his time with Footlights, David met Matt Lucas, a like-minded comedian who shared his passion for satire. Their connection was instant. They started creating small comedy sketches, never realizing that these modest performances would one day shape British comedy. Their hard work slowly paid off. They moved from stage performances to radio shows, experimenting with different characters and performance styles. But their big break didn't come overnight. Years of persistence finally led to a career-defining moment in 2003. That year, David Williams and Matt launched Little Britain, a comedy series that didn't just entertain. The show dissected contemporary British society by introducing a parade of eccentric and outrageous characters. David wasn't just playing typical roles. He was completely transforming into an entirely different person. From the wealthy aristocrats with their pompous attitudes to the quirky working-class oddballs, each character had a unique personality that made audiences laugh, and sometimes even gasp in shock. These characters weren't just funny, they were bold and unpredictable, making people think about the world around them in a new way. The show quickly became a sensation, attracting fans not just in the UK, but around the world. However, there was another side to it that many didn't know. Not everyone found the portrayals amusing. Some viewers felt the characters were offensive or controversial, sparking debates that only added to the buzz around the show. Regardless of the criticism, one thing was clear: David Williams had become a popular name. Despite his success in comedy, David wasn't one to stay in one lane. In 2008, he surprised everyone by stepping into the world of literature. His debut children's book, The Boy in the Dress, told the touching story of a boy who loved wearing dresses and his journey toward acceptance. The book was met with praise, proving that David's storytelling ability extended far beyond comedy. With this success, he continued writing, releasing a string of bestsellers, including Gangster Granny, Mr. Stink, and Billionaire Boy. His books resonated with young readers, blending humor with important messages about acceptance, kindness, and resilience. His storytelling was so compelling that his works were adapted into films and stage plays. This solidified his reputation as one of the most beloved children's authors of his time. Some even compared him to Roald Dahl. Though writing brought him a new level of success, David never strayed far from the spotlight. He remained active in comedy and explored different roles, from acting in films to judging high-profile television competitions. But even as his career flourished, he never forgot the struggles of his early days. In the beginning, David faced rejection after rejection. He performed in tiny bars, where the audience barely paid attention. There were nights when he questioned if he was truly cut out for show business, but he refused to give up. His persistence eventually led him to Britain's Got Talent in 2012, a decision that changed everything. From the moment he joined the show's judging panel, it was clear he was different. Unlike the other judges, especially the notoriously serious Simon Cowell, David brought something unexpected. He cracked jokes, played pranks, and wasn't afraid to be outrageous on live television. His presence transformed the show, making it more than just a talent competition. The show became a stage for unforgettable moments. David didn't judge contestants solely on skill. He judged with emotion. He offered encouragement even to those who weren't particularly outstanding. At times, this approach frustrated Simon, but it also added balance to the show. Their different personalities became a fan favorite. Simon was cold and calculated, while David was mischievous and unpredictable. One of the most unforgettable moments came when David, without warning, kissed Simon on live television. The studio erupted in laughter, and even Simon, caught completely off guard, couldn't help but crack a smile. David didn't stop there. He continued teasing Simon season after season, even calling him the love of my life in front of millions of viewers. David wasn't just about humor, he had a heart. When a young contestant, Malachi Paul, broke down in tears on stage, David didn't hesitate. He stepped down, reassured the boy, and encouraged him to keep going. This touching moment solidified David as not just a judge but a mentor. His approach wasn't always welcomed though. On one occasion, he defied the panel's decision by giving a second chance to an eliminated contestant, leading to an on-stage argument. In another instance, he deliberately pressed the golden buzzer for a talentless act just to frustrate Simon. While some saw these moves as disruptive, others felt they added excitement to the show. Behind the scenes, the fun continued. David was known for secretly altering Simon's scripts, causing him to read out unexpected lines. Though often annoyed, even Simon had to admit that David brought an infectious energy to Britain's Got Talent. Before David joined, the show was already a success, but it lacked something entertaining. David filled that gap. He made contestants feel comfortable, turned awkward moments into comedy, and brought a fresh dynamic to the panel. His influence even extended to the other judges, Amanda Holden and Alicia Dixon, who often found themselves caught up in his jokes. In one particularly hilarious moment, David convinced Alicia to dance with a contestant everyone assumed would be eliminated. Instead of embarrassment, it became one of the most talked about highlights of the season. His presence brought in new audiences. Many watched, not just for the talent, but for his humor. David Walliams didn't just judge Britain's Got Talent, he transformed it. Did you enjoy David Walliams' time in Britain's Got Talent? Would you like to see David return to the show? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.